Let us look at the advantages of blockchain technology. So what edge does blockchain have over centralized ledger systems? First, we'll look at transparency. That's one of the key advantages we'll be exploring. Two, we'll be looking at security. And lastly, we'll be looking at the efficiency that blockchains speak. Now, let's explore all these advantages individually. Blockchain transparency. We talked about blockchain being a distributed decentralized ledger network. Therefore, all nodes store and have access to the information or transactional records. Therefore, it means each and every single network participant has access to transactional records. This makes blockchain suitable for industries in need of high trust, such as governance. Also, industries that rely on traceability of transactions, such as supply chain management. Because the whole point of blockchains is all transactions are visible to all network participants, pretty much. But we'll talk more about how blockchains try to think about anonymity, or how blockchains try to hide some sort of information as much as everyone has access to transactional data. And this will learn more about as we talk about the Bitcoin protocol and as we talk about anonymity in our last module. Now, the second advantage of blockchains is blockchain security. Now, we talked about blockchain being a distributed decentralized ledger system. Now, let's think about vulnerability, as we talked about in the first lecture in this module. For someone to alter records in a blockchain network, you have to hack through all the numerous ledgers throughout the entire network. Now, this requires a lot of energy and is somewhat impossible the more nodes in a network. Now imagine, in centralized systems, once I hack through the firewall of the centralized database, I've crashed down the entire system once I've taken down the central database. But in blockchain systems, hacking through one is not enough. You have to hack through each and every single node. And when you have 1 million nodes or even just 10,000 nodes, that's virtually impossible for any single party to do. So that by itself speaks security. But there's a second dimension to security, and that's the aspect that's spoken by cryptography. Cryptography is technology that we'll be exploring in Module 3, is also used to enhance security in blockchain networks. And this is something we'll discuss deeper as we get into cryptography, crypto economics, as well as the mining process. These security layers make blockchain immutable. The cryptography, and we talked about crypto economics layer, makes blockchain immutable. And immutability simply means that transactions cannot be altered or deleted. Lastly, blockchains are efficient, and blockchain efficiency is a great property of blockchains that comes from disintermediation. Now, we talked about blockchains being a peer-to-peer network, therefore they eliminate the need for a third party or intermediary. Therefore, we can see blockchains increase speed because transactions are direct and do not have to pass through multiple central authorities. This is very huge in the financial industry, and as you explore blockchain applications in finance, you'll see the number of intermediaries that are present within just one financial transaction. But when you kill out intermediaries, you make it faster because you don't have to manually go from one point to another, pretty much. It becomes direct and faster. And the second aspect, it decreases cost. By removing the many intermediaries within a particular transaction, all of them always want a fee for participating in a particular transaction. Therefore, by removing them, all the fees you're supposed to pay all these intermediaries are reduced. And that the mere fact that you can interact peer-to-peer means you don't have to pay the fee of intermediation. And this is usually high when you think about finance or any sort of intermediaries in any sort of asset transfer transactions. And those are the two aspects that speak efficiency. Increase the speed, decrease the cost. Blockchains speak efficiency in the industry. Now, let's summarize all these advantages of blockchain. One, we talked about transparency. One, because it's a distributed ledger network. Each and every single person has a copy of transactional records. This means that there's higher trust as we all have the records, and there's higher traceability. Second aspect is security because of decentralization. There's no single point of failure. Therefore, you have to hack through millions of ledgers to actually hack through a blockchain, which becomes slightly impossible. And then you talked about the cryptography being another layer of security that we'll discuss further. And this makes blockchains impossible to hack, as well as transactions immutable on blockchains. And lastly, we talked about efficiency. Blockchains increase speed and reduce cost. And this is simply by eliminating the intermediary in any sort of transactions. And that's it for advantages.